It's finally happened. We have proof that we are not alone. All of these years staring into the cosmos, wondering the great power of our Creator limited to us tiny little microscopic humans. We have evidence that the great God of the universe has made so... I can't even do it. I'm sorry. I can't even say it with a straight face anymore. Y'all are so dumb. I'm sorry, with the love of Christ. That's really terrible.
Suckers. Well, hey everybody, I'm Joshua.
And I'm Caleb.
And we read your fan mail, and we want to announce to you today, yes, it is true. We perm our hair. We're in the middle right now of getting the curls done just per... No, we don't do that. This is the Faraday band.
I know what y'all been thinking for years. Oh, look at those conspiracy theorists. They don't need a Faraday fan. Tin foil is just for wrapping potatoes in the oven. It's not. My brain is the most precious potato of all, and I am tired of these people trying to zone in on it. But guess what? Guess what? Now we know it's all true. Yeah. We weren't actually crazy people after all. And they're telling it in the news now.
They've been monitoring our feeds. You know, it's not just Red China. It's those world-dominating governments. And they're now disclosing vital information, top secret information, classified information to reveal that we are closer to the end than we think. You may be asking, what is he talking about?
Wait, what are you talking about?
Exactly. If you've been watching the news lately, there has been released top secret classified information by the United States government pertaining to aliens and UFOs' existence. In fact, here's a very important quote from President Donald Trump.
The Trump said this, not Maury Povich, right?
This is
because Maury Povich has been saying this for years.
Yeah.
Anywho, okay. Based on the tremendous interest shown, I will be directing the Secretary of War and other relevant departments and agencies to begin the process of identifying and releasing government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life, unidentified aerial phenomena, UAP, and unidentified flying objects, UFOs, and any and all other information connected to these highly complex but extremely interesting and important matters. God bless America, end quote, Donald Trump.
Okay, this isn't just the United States, Josh. Many world governments are releasing information that they have hidden from us over the years. You know, it's not an accident that they have hidden from us, because people are going to want the knowledge that is hidden from them. This is all plot. This is a plan. But I still call this year the year of disclosure. 2026, guys, to me, spiritually, this is one of the most important years in all of history related to Satan's end times, last days plot of great deception.
Wait a second. Is this video sponsored by the upcoming movie Disclosure Day by Steven Spielberg? Is that why you called this the year of disclosure?
No, but it's not an accident that his movie's releasing at the same time, Josh.
Yeah, you got to understand that no matter what you think, there are people with more money than you and a bigger agenda than you who are trying to convince you of things along the way. It's called marketing. They've been doing it for a long time with all kinds of things. Just study a little bit of history. But you know what? They thought one day movies would be a great tool for this. Why? Because when you watch something on film or on television, you begin to desynthesize yourself to certain concepts that might have been crazy at the time. When cinema first started and people were seeing movies for the first time and hearing gunshots and this and that and fires, they literally thought that movie houses were on fire. They thought that they were being, because they'd never heard anything like this before. And then over the years, we've had to push the line and push the line and push the line, and then use cinema as a form of giving us ideas.
Hey, case in point, Orson Welles' War of the Worlds, radio broadcast, people believed it. Well, it doesn't take much for people to believe it now.
You heard of a little man named Steven Spielberg? I'm not just making fun of him being short, but this guy's been around for quite some time making some films. Yes, he made a movie about a crazy tire that went out to murder people. That's another story. He was young when he did that. You don't remember that from college?
Oh, yeah.
So, 1977, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Man, people making mashed potato mountains and going out there and getting taken up into space. He began this fascination with this film. Great soundtrack, too. But guess what? It's now 2026 and the release of Disclosure Day, a film of which the aliens make themselves aware to mankind, I believe is it. But let's hear from Steven Spielberg himself, because he has a quote that's directly from the trailer. So this is not me assuming what Spielberg thinks. This is his words. Yeah. This is a story about us, all of us, up against the most extraordinary event in human history. I used to say to myself, wouldn't it be wonderful if all of this turned out to be true? I'm now thinking, wouldn't it be wonderful for people to know all of this is true?
He just, it's not maybe it's true, it's not I believe it's true. He's saying it's true. He's saying based upon all the evidence like world governments have released and the video footage and the images, that it's all real. And that if this is all real, Josh, you know, and we are not alone in the universe, then mainly man is probably the most insignificant thing out there. Maybe we are the ones that are technologically in advance, that these guys are smarter than us, that they're here to help us, that man in his primal instincts is going to lead the world to its destruction, you know, with global warming and all this stuff. That's what they believe. How about we go to another quote of Mr. Spielberg in an interview?
Just in case you thought there wasn't any more to his perspective. I really feel a sense of like a hunger for this information now, because I think I think there aren't many advances or bits of knowledge that we can receive that will completely unite us than something like this. The humility that it brings, knowing that we are not alone. Interesting information. He suggests that this information is going to unite us all. Remember we said there's agendas. Why would they suggest and all of a sudden bring about aliens? It's going to unite us all. It's going to bring peace. It's going to humble us as mankind to know that we are actually this submissive creature that was spawned by these little weird guys like this with the suction cup pepperoni fingers.
And if you don't believe this is true, or it should sound familiar to you, because it is the same message that Satan has been pushing through multimedia, through books, movies, through music, but not just that, through the occult, through New Age, through secret societies, through world government agendas. When everybody who is secular, who's being used by the enemy, is saying the same thing, then that's his plan. And has been his plan for decades, pushing this idea that aliens are our progenitors, that they made us, that they're going to return. They made us. Like a test tube, or even worse, you know, they birthed us and we were some kind of hybrid mass, and now we're evolving, but we're still a destructive force into ourselves. So they're going to return so that we can make it to the next stage of our evolution. But there's some bad humans on the earth that are causing a problem. Perhaps they're going to have to remove all those and take them to another world, you know, Planet X or something, Nibiru, so that they don't cause any more problems on Earth. That could be the rapture. I'm just saying.
You mean when we get raptured away, they're going to be like, oh snap, we got rid of all those mean Christians, and now we can finally live in peace and harmony?
I'm just saying,
with our homosexuality and other bad choices?
You know, recently, Josh, we got to interview L.A. Marzulli. He's like the godfather of preaching about the Nephilim, the truth behind this, the occult doctrine, the manifestation of demons, abductions. You're going to see the interview soon, you know, but he's talked about abductions. He's interviewed the people who've been abducted, who've been violated by these demonic entities. They've literally been taken. They've been implanted. They've been raped, impregnated.
Spoiler alert, he's not crazy.
Yes.
I don't think he's crazy either. He actually has physical evidence and proof. 34 films he's made on the topic, 15 books, and more to come, where they're actual physical, tangible proof. It's not even just a spiritual thing anymore. This is physical stuff that's happening. Our mother, when we grew up as kids, she was heavily involved in ministries that were helping for deliverance from people who had been a part of the occult and things like this. So we've seen all of this growing up in our lives. Talking with L.A. Marzulli, the more that's done, the more you peel back the veil of what is considered normality, the more you see that this is a plan that isn't just recent, but it's a plan that's been going on since the beginning of time. Why? Satan wants to deceive us all. He wants to make sure that as many of us as possible are eternally separated from the Father of all time. And he's used many plans over the years, but this is his greatest, newest, I would say 8K version of it, because he had to start off with really low resolution, and now he's had to bump it up, and he's super happy to have AI and all these tools on his side because it looks super real now.
It's just rebranded, different name, terminology. In the past, it was the gods. In every civilization since the beginning of history, we're going to be teaching a lot about this recently. I'm just teasing that. Sumerians, Akkadians, Egyptians, Canaanites, the gods were our creators, and they manifest to these people in the past, and they saw them visibly, and they carved them out, made idols to them, and worshiped them. But this isn't new, and God warns that more of this is going to happen in the future.
Wait, this is in the Bible?
This is in the Bible.
Well, how about 2 Timothy 4:3-4 that says, "For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but according to their own desires, because they have itching ears, they will heap up for themselves teachers, and they will turn away their ears from the truth and be turned aside to fables." Guys, this is nothing new. Paul is saying this stuff back in the first century.
Yeah.
He's going, guys, there's false apostles, false preachers, false teachers. The enemy has been trying to get in to the doctrine and just manipulate it a little bit at first and twist these little things to get confusion and to mess things up. And he's doing it again today. It was prophesied then, and we're actually seeing it unfold.
That's right. Yeshua warned about it throughout his ministry life, especially in Matthew 24. James, John, Peter, they all wrote about these antichrist spirits, these false apostles, the manifestation of demons that would deceive believers in the church. So it's been going on this whole time, this deception. And, some people may say, the false doctrine is really, even though it's been around, how can believing in UFOs and stuff, how can that really be bad? If God's really so amazing, he made all these, universes and stuff, couldn't he have made something else? Are we really the center of his universe? Yes, we are. But I believe that Christians are dumber than you think. I'm sorry. The reason I'm saying this, we just finished a series on creation evidence. And there's so many Christians who believe in evolution because evidence, we see it. It's fact. Evolutionists say so. But when they see these aliens land in front of them, these flying saucers and UFOs, yes, they believe it because they are encountering it. Christians are seeing these things manifest, whether they're spiritual or actually physical craft, which, as we learned from LA, they are physical craft as well. They're seeing these things and they're being duped by it.
Remember that pride is the number one tool that the enemy has used since the garden, right?
Yeah.
It's the thing that took him out of heaven. And so he went ahead and used it for everybody else. We have this fleshly desire in us to want to know more and to want to be the owners of the information. Case in point, he goes to Adam and Eve and he's like, look, here's the deal. You're not going to die if you eat this. God knows you're going to know as much as him if you do. And I've been having conversations with people lately when it comes to things that aren't necessarily word for word in the Bible, concepts or whatnot. And we start applying our emotions to concepts, our desire for information, our desire to be the one who has the knowledge. And it's not even that it starts off as a bad desire, right? It's like, well, I don't think God would do this because of this, or I think because of this. The fact of the matter is, if it's not written down, God holds his word above everything else. It has to be in his word for him to do it. And Satan wants to get us into a state of pride where we are seeking to know all of this additional information so that we can be the ones that have it and know it.
But we are not meant to know everything, Josh, because that would make us omniscient. And only he is omniscient. So to try to learn everything and get all this enlightenment, this has been his tactic from the beginning. We see this in esoteric cults from the beginning. We're talking about the original Babylonian cults, things that were started with Nimrod, things that began in Sumer, things that carried on with the Akkadians, with the Egyptians and all that. They were all about enlightenment, learning hidden truths and knowledge. Later on, secret societies like Bavarian Illuminati, Freemasonry, these world governments, World Economic Forum, they're all still saying the same thing about this hidden knowledge. But you'll get to the point where they are withholding knowledge from the public, and only the elite few, the sacred people that are set apart by the gods or for their intelligence, are allowed to have this disclosure of information to them because they can handle it, because they're special. And because of that, they become leaders. They become the men in suits in the darkness that make the decisions. This was the whole, birthing of the Age of Enlightenment, pushed this doctrine of Gnosticism that crept into the church. But it was in the church in the first century. Paul warned about the Gnosticism. Paul warned about this pride that comes with this enlightenment, and trying to seep that and make it coexist with Christianity is impossible. But yet there is more warnings that Paul gives to Timothy that this stuff is going to happen.
1 Timothy 4:1 says, "Now the Spirit expressly says that in latter times some will depart from the faith, giving heed to deceiving spirits and doctrines of demons." Doctrines of demons. He just straight up calls it for what it is.
Yeah.
There is going to be literal theology written by, propagated by, and believed demons.
They're demons. And demons, which we have taught upon in the past, and you're going to learn in our upcoming series, Return of the Nephilim, are just departed Nephilim spirits. They are spirits that are tormented, roaming the earth, trying to find habitation in vessels, humankind. And as you can see with the story of Yeshua and the demoniac, they'll even go into pigs. They're that desperate.
But they won't go through foil.
Yeah, that's why you're protected. No, but they teach doctrine, and it's worship of the gods, worship of themselves, to gain glory and adoration for themselves, to get your focus off of God in any way possible. And this is apostasy. And we're warned about apostasy throughout Scripture, great apostasy. And that's all linked to this plan of Satan's disclosure of aliens.
You're probably saying, Josh, Caleb, the church wouldn't do that. I go to church with these guys all the time. My small group guys are awesome. There's no way that they could put great pasta in front of God. These carbohydrates aren't going to win. Well, I direct you to 2 Thessalonians 2, 1-3, which says, now, brethren, concerning the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ and our gathering together to him, we ask you not to be soon shaken in mind or troubled, either by spirit or by word or by letter, as it is from us, as though the day of Christ had come. Let no one deceive you by any means, for that day will not come unless the falling away comes first.
So that falling away, in Greek, Josh, it's apostasia, where apostasy comes from. People use this reference in Scripture talking about a great apostasy. What kind of deception, what kind of duping could Satan present to the church that they would fall away? That they would follow a heretical doctrine, that they would fall away from the truth of Yeshua and start to believe something else. It has to be pretty big. It has to be something that they see with their eyes, that they feel with their senses. That's no longer by faith, it's by sight. And that's what we're seeing now unfold is the same thing in the past, Josh. Gods, aliens, whatever they're, Nephilim, whatever they were in the past, that's what they're going to be again. And Satan will brazenly do it to the church, and the church will brazenly believe it because they don't know the word of God for themselves. It's not hidden in their heart. They don't know the truth. They will be deceived by it. And Satan is so brazen with this, Josh. He even tried to dupe Yeshua with his own words. Yeshua the word. In this temptation in Luke chapter 4, verses 9 through 12. It says, then he, Satan, brought him, Yeshua, to Jerusalem, set him on the pinnacle of the temple, and said to him, if you are the Son of God, throw yourself down from here, for it is written, he shall give his angels charge over you to keep you, and in their hands they shall bear you up, lest you dash your foot against a stone. And Jesus answered and said to him, it has been said, you shall not tempt the Lord your God.
That's a pretty bold move. I'm just going to throw that one out there. Hi, sir, you made me, but let me go ahead and tell you something about what you don't know about your creation. Man. It's insane, but that is really what pride does, right? It's a bluff game. It's going to get in your face as though it knows, and it's going to tell you what's real. This is all super important. God's timing is divine, and that's why we have been arduously and sweatingly creating an epic. This number it's excessive. A 17-part series. That's right. Yeah. Because there's that many parts to this story. We're talking about something that begins all the way in Genesis 3:15. Yes. Right, moving all the way towards the end of time. We have traversed the globe for these 17 stories over the past 2 years to tell what's been going on and to show you the historical fact, to show you the literal carvings on the wall of this plan that's been unfolding for so long.
And it was very difficult. We went to the most demonic high places, low places, underground, underwater, highest mountain. And we went to all the highest mountains in the entire Middle East.
So much cardio. It's the worst ever.
But it was so important to go to the original places pre-flood and post-flood, where these atrocities, abominations, where these sins were committed even by fallen angels themselves. The Benai Elohim, the sons of God, who came down to the daughters of men, and they bore children with them. They even, raped them. They created these giants, these Nephilim, and this perverted seed tried to stop the seed of Messiah, the seed of a woman, from coming about to crush his head. Whose head? The actual progeny of Satan, his seed. would come through his line, this demonic progeny, which is going to end up being the perfect son of Satan and the beast, who most people call the Antichrist. This is a prophetic series that for the next 5 months, you are going to be hearing from the beginning to the end and seeing with your eyes these locations where these things happen. Because we feel this is so important, and God obviously felt it was so important, but we prepared 2 years ago, and even before that, guys.
I had to say it to him in 2 years. You've been studying this stuff since he was 12. I'd go in the bedroom that we shared, I'm older and he's 12, and I'm like, what do you do? I'm studying the Nephilim. I'm going to go back outside now and have fun, brother.
Really, I've been studying this for over 30 years. And it's important. Everybody has their areas of ministry. Josh is an evangelist. He goes out, he disciples people, he loves them, he leads them to Jesus. And we have, obviously our purpose in ministry for Bearded Bible Brothers is also to bring the gospel to the Jews and to teach Christians about the Jewish roots of Christianity. This one really special point of interest that God has really been laying on my heart for 30 years to really know and understand, to teach with clarity the truth of Satan's agenda with his grand biogenetic experiment of creating Nephilim impure bloodlines, perverting God's creation to dupe you and to try to stop Messiah from not just coming the first time, but to stop his second coming, because he knows his judgment is near. So we want you to watch our series coming up. It's really awesome, Return of the Nephilim.
And here's the deal. I'll make you a deal, okay? You have 17 episodes of this series to go ahead and tell us we're stupid. 17 episodes to say we're wrong. I know that you're already right now taking notes so that you can put them in the comments to say how ridiculous all of this nonsense is, but I want you to think about something for a second. I'm not a person who is overly chasing, overly spiritual things and this and that. I honestly look for a pragmatic answer into using the common sense that God's given us in a lot of areas. But I have learned something. That before they ever understood that there's this thing called germs, that people were getting sick and dying, that a guy came up with the concept that said, there's these invisible little tiny creatures and organisms that are on and in all of us, and they're causing us to get sick. Well, those type of people, the same type of people who said, did you know that the earth itself is not the center of the universe, that it actually revolves around a sun? That these kinds of concepts, when they were preached initially, those people were labeled as heretics, crazy persons. Why? Because until something's been revealed to be truth, there's part of us that doesn't want to believe something that changes this whole concept. And when it comes to the gospel right now, I know a lot of us want to just sit and say, no, it's just about knowing Jesus. It's just about discipleship. It's just about getting closer to God. It's just about going to our small groups. All that stuff's great. But what are you actually discipling people? You need to know Jesus, and Jesus says you need to know these things. Why? Because you have to be prepared. You can't go into a war without knowing your enemy just a little bit. You can't go into a math final without knowing the math that you've been studying. There are certain things that you have to study and you have to know. And so put aside your skepticism for a minute. Don't just blindly trust. Just watch and see that the things we're talking about aren't new things. But this is stuff that has physical, tangible evidence that has been going back to Genesis 3. Our generation, our society has been so departed from it for so long that it sounds whimsical when we hear it. But I'm willing to suggest that even if we have 10 more years left on this planet, in 10 years, what we're talking about now is going to be so commonplace it's not even funny. Because by that point, the world's going to believe in aliens. They're probably sitting there voting for them into Congress and all this other kind of nonsense. And tinfoil, it's going to be all you have, son. So check it out, Return of the Nephilim, coming soon.
And watch the trailer for it right now. We love you guys.
And I know you can see stuff in the background, but you have no clue where we're at. Those bricks, I'm covering them up. You can't see those bricks. Those are fake bricks. These glasses right here also detect everything, so you can't see. Just, it's okay. Just let this happen.
Nephilim. This Hebrew word is sometimes interchanged for giants, but more directly it means the fallen ones, from the Hebrew root naphal, to fall, or to fall a violent death. It's no coincidence that the first image a Christian associates with these fallen ones is with fallen angels.
Enoch, this guy, he's the first person to ever receive a prophecy of the second coming of Armageddon.
That would be the Temple of Hercules.
Hercules?
The Hercules.
Hercules.
Like that Temple of Hercules?
Blood has always been sacred to God. These demon hybrids had an insatiable lust of thirst for it.
Not only do I believe that he's going to clash with those B'nai Elohim when they're unleashed from their prison at the river Euphrates,
Zeus then sounds a lot to me like Satan. I'm gonna climb to the top of the mountain and get the guy in charge out of there.
Trace the history of the Nephilim from past to present in order to better understand the prophetic implications of what is to come when we uncover the mystery of the return of the Nephilim.